You hatch, breaking through the egg, your mandibles working instinctively as you push forward. Others around you are doing the same, forcing their way out. You are inside a cell, part of a repeating pattern, surrounded by more just like it. Some are still sealed, holding others who have yet to emerge. While others sit empty, their occupants are already out. The ones that hatched before you have started eating, their bodies growing stronger with every bite. You have no time to fall behind. A worker arrives, stopping just long enough to drop food into your open mouth before moving on. You don't think, you swallow. The food is soft, already chewed down into paste made easy to consume. A moment later, another worker does the same, and you take in as much as you can before she moves on. If you don't, someone else will. You eat. That is your only task. The food keeps coming, delivered by workers who never stop. You keep swallowing, your body using everything to grow. Days pass and you feel your skin tighten. Then it gets worse. The pressure builds until something gives and your body splits open. Congratulations, you've just molted. You climb out of your old skin, slightly bigger, slightly stronger, and immediately go back to eating like nothing happened. Some of the others don't make it. Maybe they were too slow. Maybe they weren't taking this whole constant eating thing seriously. Either way, their cells are cleaned out before you even notice they're missing. Then, one day, everything shifts. The workers stop bringing food and you stop feeling hungry. Instead, a new instinct kicks in, one that tells you to start spinning. Silk threads wrap around your body, sealing you inside, and for the first time, you do nothing. Inside, your body starts making upgrades. Legs stretch out, muscles form, wings press against your back, and a whole new layer of armor hardens around you. You don't know what's coming next, but whatever it is, you're being prepped for it whether you like it or not. Then the casing splits. You push forward, legs locking into place, wings unfolding, body fully formed and ready. This time, you're not just another helpless mouth waiting to be fed. You have a stinger now. You're a worker wasp, and it's time to get to work. No one tells you what to do. You already know. Your first task is to feed the larva. The workers before you did the same. Now it's your turn. You fly out, scanning below. When you notice something moving, it's a caterpillar, thick and slow, crawling along a leaf. You quickly land behind it, grip it tight, and sting, allowing your venom to flood its body. The caterpillar twitches and then stops. You tear into its soft skin, breaking it down and taking a piece back. At the nest, you drop the food into an open cell. A larva stretches forward, pulling it in. You don't stop to watch, you just move on. After that, more workers arrive with more food, allowing the larva to keep growing. Then you move to the nest walls. The structure must expand, so you scrape your mandibles against a wooden fence, chewing the fibers into pulp. It mixes with your saliva, forming a soft paste. Back at the nest, you spread it over the edges, pressing it into place. After a while, it hardens, adding to the structure. Then you fly out again, to bring back more food and more wood. The larvae need to grow, and the nest must hold. At some point, you hear the air hum with movement. You join the other wasps, following the scent of sugar. Below you is a field of flowers that stretches in every direction. You fly lower and land on one of the flowers. You press your mouthparts into the flower and start drinking. Then a shadow moves beside you. A bee. It lands carefully, its legs dipping into the pollen. It hesitates for a moment to assess the current situation, but you don't wait. You turn toward it with your mandibles slightly open to give it a warning. The bee flinches, but doesn't leave. It needs the nectar too. You step closer and shove it with your front legs. Not hard, just enough that it stumbles to the side. The bee buzzes its wings, trying to stand its ground. It's twice as heavy as you, built for collecting the pollen, but you're built for something else. You have speed, you have venom, you have nothing to lose. You slam into it again, harder this time. The bee panics and it grips the petal, trying to hold its place. But you don't let it. You fly forward with your mandibles snapping at its legs. It lunges backward, finally breaking away from the flower. But you don't give up and chase it into the air. It tries to fly away, but you follow. It flies down, diving low toward another flower, trying to reclaim what it lost. And in that moment, you slam into it mid-air. The bee spirals, trying to fight back, but it won't. It can't afford to sting, because in its case, one sting means death. You know this and use it to your advantage. The bee finally flies away, dropping lower and retreating. You hover for a second, watching, satisfied with yourself. Then you turn back and land on the flower, pressing into the petals. You drink because the nectar is yours now. Sometime later, a worker flies past you. Her scent is strong, and you immediately follow the familiar sweetness filling the air. Up ahead, wasps cling to the rim of a human drink. They bury their heads inside, drinking as fast as they can. The sugar is thick, and more workers arrive, drawn in by the scent. A human approaches, stopping when they notice the swarm. They hesitate for a moment before reaching for the cup. You lift off with the others, warning the human, but the human doesn't stop. Their hand moves closer, trying to take their drink. You fly forward with your mandibles open, colliding with the human's skin, driving your stinger into it. Other wasps strike at the same time. The human flinches, screaming in pain and fear. They try to shake you off, but it's too late now. You sting over and over again. The human stumbles back, frantically waving their hand, trying to escape the relentless attack. Then finally, They drop the drink. The cup crashes to the ground and the syrup spills across the pavement. All of the wasps landing around the puddle to drink. The human grips their stung skin, with their eyes wide with fear as they retreat. But you don't care. You lower yourself to the sticky surface, pressing your mouthparts into the sweet remains. The sugar was never theirs to take. It was always yours. Oh, and by the way, you have something that most insects don't. The ability to recognize faces. You could spot the same human over and over again. You could remember which worker shoved past you last time at the nest entrance. But does it matter? No, no one cares. The queen won't reward you for remembering her. The workers won't appreciate it when you identify the ones who always steal the best food. And when a human swats at you, you'll remember their face. But let's be real, you're not going to live long enough to do anything about it. Then, you're back at the nest when a shadow passes overhead. It's a hornet. The alarm spreads instantly. Workers flood from the entrance, swarming the hornet in order to defend the nest. You follow. The intruder is massive, its exoskeleton thick, mandibles sharp. It's literally built for killing. It hovers above for a moment, scanning for weakness. It won't find one. The swarm strikes first. You land on its back, legs gripping tight as your mandibles tear at the gaps in its armor. Others pile on, stabbing their stingers into every exposed joint. The hornet tries to defend itself, but there are too many of you. Its movements slow down as venom floods its body. It stumbles and falls flat on the ground. The other workers descend, biting through its outer shell, trying to peel away soft pieces from its body. The remains are carried back toward the nest because you don't waste anything. Inside, the queen lays another egg. She does not stop and she never leaves. The workers feed her, guard her, and expand the nest. You lift off and head back out, because the hive must be fed. If you are born male, however, your life is short and uneventful. You emerge from your cell near the end of the colony's existence. The nest isn't thriving anymore and the workers are dying off. Food is harder to find, and the once growing hive is now just trying to hold itself together. But none of this matters to you. You are slimmer than the workers, with longer antennas and oversized eyes. Unlike them, you will never build, never fight, and never hunt. You won't chew wood, won't feed larvae, and won't defend the colony from threats. The only thing you will do is wait. Workers take notice of you, but not in the way they do with newly hatched workers. They don't guide you toward food or assign you a task. Instead, they feed you just enough to keep you alive. They don't do this out of kindness. Your existence is tolerated because your one job hasn't started yet. For a short time, you stay inside the nest. You don't contribute, you don't leave, and you don't really think. You simply exist, feeding when the workers offer food and waiting for the instinct that tells you to leave. Then one day, it happens. The workers stop feeding you. Their focus is shifting. The colony is running out of time and you are no longer their problem. You crawl toward the entrance, spread your wings for the first time, and fly into the world. You don't know where you're going, and you don't need to. Your only goal is to find a queen before you die. Others like you are already drifting through the air, scanning for the same thing. Some won't last long because birds are watching, spiders are waiting, and the world is not friendly to creatures that have no survival instincts. Then somewhere ahead, a queen appears. She is fresh from her colony, her body larger than yours. She isn't looking for you specifically, she's kind of a bop looking for as many males as she can find. You don't hesitate. You fly towards her following her scent, a signal that your life was meant for. You aren't alone. Other males arrive drawn in by the same instinct. She isn't interested in just one of you. She mates with as many as possible, ensuring that her eggs are fertilized before she moves on. You manage to mate, and that's it. There's no guarantee that your genes will make it to the next generation. You're just one of many. The queen pulls away, already looking for the next male. You keep flying, but you aren't built to last. Some males keep searching for another queen. Others simply land somewhere and wait for the inevitable. You last a day, or maybe two. Eventually, your energy runs out. You hit the ground, your legs curl inward, and that's the end. But what about the original queen, though? The one that laid your egg? Let's go back in time to the end of summer. The time when the air cools and the days shorten. She is still there, still laying eggs, still doing the only thing she has ever done. The workers around her are fewer now. Some are missing. Some haven't come back. Her pheromones are weaker, but she doesn't understand what that means. The workers who once fed her without hesitation are slower now. Some ignore her entirely. Some have started laying their own eggs. The nest isn't the same, but she keeps laying. Then, one day, the food stops coming. The workers that remain aren't focused on her anymore. They are dying off, leaving one by one, flying off and never returning. There is no one left to bring food, no one to repair the nest, no one to fight for her. She doesn't leave. She never learned how. She was never supposed to. And so she stays, surrounded by empty cells, until the cold reaches her. The same cold that took the workers, the same cold that will bury the nest in frost and rain until it collapses into nothing. By the time winter arrives, she is gone. But her daughters, the new queens, have already disappeared underground. They will wake up in spring, find a place, and start chewing wood. And just like that, the cycle begins again. Life as a wasp might be rough, but there's another animal out there that has it way worse. Trust me, it's wild. Check out the video and see for yourself.